Hi everyone, it's been a while since I've done a live video. I've been traveling a lot and moving house as well. Anyway, I wanted to talk about Tony Robbins and victim mentality. Tony Robbins has just apologized for making a comment at one of his events where he said that some women use the MeToo movement, #MeToo, as a drug to gain significance in themselves by destroying somebody else and blaming somebody else. And he's now apologized. I think that, I watched the video where he said that and I felt that he was absolutely victim blaming. And I also felt that when he was quite aggressively, and he's a very big guy, walking towards this woman who called him out for that comment, and she was a sex abuse survivor. He walked towards her quite aggressively and then blamed her for her appropriate response to try and push him away. Not to mention, in his documentary, I'm Not Your Guru, he clearly bullies this woman in one of the scenes, and I felt really, really queasy about that. So I have made a comment about that, but I think that there is a much more relevant and interesting conversation to be had about victim mentality, which, who knows, maybe this is what he was trying to make, but, missed the mark in my opinion. One of my followers and former students of my online video course posted a really interesting article on my Unbeatable Facebook group today, saying it's an article by Psychology Today, which I will put a link to in the comments below. And it was saying that one of the worst things for your health and happiness and well-being is to be in a relationship with someone who is angry, resentful, and emotionally abusive. But it also talks about how it's also really not good for you to be a victim of victim mentality. And so she was saying that it really helped her to read this article and be reminded that she needs to stop focusing on him and being a victim of him, of her abusive ex-husband, but instead to focus on her strengths and building her self-esteem and really her healing and her recovery. And I do agree with that. I have online video courses that are called Start With Me, because I do believe that the best way to heal and recover from a narcissist or an abusive person is to take your focus away from them and bring it back onto you. And I know that for a long time, I was wallowing in that victim mentality, and I was thinking, he did this to me, he did that, he this, he that, blame, 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 blame. And while I was in that, I was never going to be free of him. I was never going to recover. It was only when I started to really think and realize I can't change him. He is responsible for his behavior and his actions. I can only change me, and I can really focus on my recovery, my strengths, building my self-esteem. And once I took my focus off him and the relationship and the abuse and put it back onto me and healing me, my recovery, then that was when I started to turn my life around. But it's more complicated than that, because another follower made a comment in light of the first woman's comments about the Psychology Today article. And she said, I don't know about you, but actually I find it quite helpful to keep reading articles and Facebook group comments, watching videos about narcissists and all the things that they do to you, and how you are a victim of their behavior. And she said she finds that really, really helpful because it reminds her that she's not going crazy, which narcissists are brilliant at making you feel with all their gaslighting and manipulative tactics that they use. And she said, I need that reminding to remember not to feel sorry for him, not to go back to him. I need to remember that I was a victim of abuse, and that really helps in my healing. So what I would say is there is no right or wrong. For some, it is, reading and constantly reading every book about narcissists and reading about how they abuse you and reading all these articles daily and poring over and obsessing over the narcissist's behavior. For some, that's really helpful. And for others, it's not. It ties you still back into that mentality of blaming them and being a victim. I've noticed that there are a lot of Facebook groups that I'm on and I observe that there is a victim mentality. And there is a lot of my next, they call them, and my narcissist abuser, this, that, and the other. And they go on and on and on about about them and blaming them and being bitter about them and angry towards them and resentful towards them. And I don't necessarily think that is helpful to healing. I have my own Unbeatable Facebook group in which I say to people, if you want to join this group, I would like you not to focus on your ex, your partner, your parent, or whoever's the narcissist or abuser. I want in this group for everybody to positively focus on them and encouraging each other, how we can focus on us, take our focus away from them because we can't change them. All we can do is change ourselves. And for me, that was the way I healed. And it was better for me. Yes, I did read all those self-help books. Yes, I did pore over articles to understand what had happened to me and the abuse. But all I would say is, yes, that can be helpful. But there is a fine line. So please, if you are needing that, to keep reading those articles, and if it is helpful to you to be reminded that you are a victim and that the abuse was abuse and you are not going crazy, by all means do read them. Knowledge is power, I always say that. But there is a fine line. And if then you stay in this mentality where you keep your focus on them and blaming them. And one way of knowing is if you start every conversation with he this or she that, they did this to me, that you're the passive victim and it's all about them. I would just change your thinking and don't waste your energy on a narcissist or an abusive person. Take your power back. And the way to do that is to just take your focus away from them. Read all those articles while you need to understand the abuse and what's happened to you. But at some point, get to the point where you can take your focus off them and really just focus on you. Start with you, because the power to change your life and to turn your life around is inside you. It's not out there trying to change your behavior, to change them and hoping and waiting that one day they might change into that person you think in your head they're going to become. Accept them for who they are right now. You can't change them. Is that good enough for you? Do you deserve better? And if you do, then take that focus, put it onto you. And the key is to really work at building your self-esteem and your sense of self-worth, because only when you think you are lovable can you attract the sort of person who treats you as lovable as well. And you'll also know that if they don't, and if there is nobody there that is good enough, you are enough, with or without a man or a girlfriend or whatever. So it is a complicated thing, this victim mentality, and I do think that it's fine to gain knowledge, because knowledge is power, but just try not to wallow in that and have it impede your journey towards recovery. And that is the only way to do that, is by starting with you and focusing on you. So I hope that helps. I'll put the link to the Psychology Today article in the comments below. And thank you to my followers for making me think about that with your very different responses to the post that one put in the Unbeatable Facebook group. If you like my videos, please share. Please follow my blog on www.beingunbeatable.com and let me know what you think, whether you are struggling to get out of that victim mentality, or whether you find it helpful to keep reading that information about narcissistic abuse. Anyway, until next time, I'll see you again.